Good
Guys,
morning.
guys, I don't even know what to do with my hands. I'm so excited. Marcus Heflin's here. Like, I just want to put him on. I just want to bring him around with me everywhere. It's just so good. Good morning, Marcus. Good morning, people of the internet. Coach Kyle Evans, Coach Marcus Heflin, Constellation Home Sales, in your face, in your brain this morning. How we doing?
Good morning, buddy. Good morning, everybody out there. We are excited for today and continuing our conversation around communication. Man, we're actually going to drop it so crystal clear today. Imagine that, talking about communication in a clear, communicative way, right? And yet, the way that we'll break this down will really get you thinking about the impact that you'll have on your clients. And man, oh man, in this environment, in this market, the impact we're having on our clients now versus later on. Let me give an example. Kyle, this hit me the other day. I was the team leader, and obviously we were selling houses in 2020, right? And in
Some of us.
Nashville, we had a unique 2020 year. I know everybody did due to COVID, and yet right before COVID, we had 2 tornadoes. So tornado, and like really rough ones, and then straight into COVID. My goodness, right? And we had a lot of agents that went internal, or maybe they weren't reaching out to their database during that time and simply just checking in, updating, doing the professional things that we know is important. And then all of a sudden, 2021 and 2022, the heyday, and then they started calling their people. And a lot of agents came to me and were like, man, I feel bad, because I would call these people and they'd be like, man, I haven't heard from you during all these other times, right? So my question is, are we being as communicative as we choose to be in the down markets when we know maybe they're not making a move, maybe they're not selling or buying or anything? Are we keeping the relationship there? And what's the thing that you always say, buddy? I butcher it when I try to tell other people. Our goal is to stay within emotional proximity of the person long enough to where when it's time for them to transact in real estate, they think of us first. Did I get that right?
I like that you under promise and over delivered right there. That's nice. See, guys, the man's in sales. The man's in sales.
And yet
Oh,
my question is, how communicative are we being, and what is that tonality? What is that value you're bringing?
yeah. Yeah. And as we keep going, yesterday we talked about, body language and the little tips and tweaks and things that you can do. And today, just with the tonality, like he's talking about, with following up with people, tonality is such an important thing. And I want you guys to understand this. Where melody is, so is inspiration. And like if you think about music, Marcus, if I was just to play a song for you right now and it just
Mm,
went bing, 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 and I just did that for 3 minutes, you would punch the computer screen.
yeah, it wouldn't take 3 minutes.
Right. I almost did. But that's the thing. It's like that's what a lot of us sound like. One of the saddest things is that people will never play the full scope of the instrument of their voice the way that it can be. And
Well
if we
done.
understand that inspiration comes from melody, that means inspiration comes from tonality for us. And
Mhm.
whilst I was digging on this and figuring some stuff out, I came across a stat scientifically, and it just smoked me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh man, that's the truest thing I've ever heard. Your brain processes tonality 4 times faster than words.
That makes perfect sense. That makes perfect sense, because tonality is the setting of a movie, right? It's the music of the scene versus what the words that the characters are saying. Have you ever watched a movie on mute or with
I
zero
have kids.
background?
Yes, I have.
Of course, right? Like, you're sitting there watching a dramatic go watch the Avengers on mute, right? Like like the battle, right? Watch it on mute. Tell me how dramatic that is.
I
Like,
remember this being better in the theater. That's right.
yeah. So what is is your tonality matching your message or the theme that you want for your
Sure.
phone call or anything in your conversation?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's like if we want to build trust faster, if we want to convert at a higher rate, a faster rate, we got to fix our tone because it reveals our intent. And if we're not careful, remember the brain's processing tonality 4 times faster than words. If you're giving off the wrong tonality, or maybe you're carrying, let's say, an energy or tonality from the morning that you don't need to be carrying into a phone call or an appointment. Hello.
Mm-hmm.
They're picking up on it faster than what you're saying.
Yeah. So first was body language, which is 55% of communication. And now we just learned that tonality is articulated and taken in 4 times more than words. My goodness, a lot of communication, and we're not even talking about any words that we've used so far.
Yeah, man, that's the crazy thing, right? Body language 55%, tonality 38%, words that we use 7%, and a lot of times in this business it's phone calls, right? So take body language out. Now we're just dealing with tonality for the main lever that we're pulling on, the main inspiration that we're driving. And so one of the things, ladies and gentlemen out there, as you can see, me and Marcus can just talk theory all day because it's wonderful. And he's got a big, beautiful brain and 204 pounds of muscle behind it.
Hey, we down 25, baby.
Come on. Right. I'm giving you your flowers. I found a way to sneak it in. We wanted to break down tonality. There's tons of ways to do it, and we wanted to give you guys a bite-sized way that you could marinate on and understand it. So we broke it down into 5 real things that you should start to think about in your relationships, in your interpersonal communications, and in your business. And number 1, we're calling it the drop, the command. Essentially, when we are giving a command or a statement, we want to do a downward inflection, a downward tone at the end of the sentence because it creates authority, leadership. Marcus, when you think about this, what are you thinking about?
I'm thinking about our time in the gym at the Hilton that you claimed was a good gym in Austin, Texas. It was a disaster zone.
Still a good gym.
It's not a good gym. And you're on set 8, and I go, 2 more. Down. Down. We're saying, clean your room.
Right.
Make your calls. Right. Whatever it is, it's a command, it's a draw. It's like when you decide to list with me tonight, we will get the process started. Right. It's an embedded command. Sometimes it's a statement of its own. Sometimes it's within a series of words or sentences, and it's right there. And yet it is a command. And we say that in the most endearing way. All right. It's not that we're not trying to be authoritative. And yet when your voice is authoritative, it also comes off confident. It also comes like a leader. So use that sparingly, right? And we've got 5 tonalities in total, and yet that drop can be a point where you go for that small close or the big close or whatever you've earned at that point.
Yeah, I mean, this is a general, it's a big mindset show, but obviously we were around business and sales, and there's a reason we put the drop at the beginning, right? Because nobody wants to be told what to do, but everybody wants to be led. And so when you are giving an air of authority, an air of finality, an air of being a leader, people will naturally follow you. And it might be like authorize the agreement. It's not, can you authorize the agreement? That doesn't sound the same, right? Hire me. You're going to find out why a bunch of people, hundreds and thousands of people so far in this business in my career, hire me. Like that's heat.
Yeah.
So these little levers that we can pull, Marcus, I don't know about you. Actually, I do. So I can say this. Are you an electrician?
I am the complete opposite of that. Yes.
Are you building birdhouses that you're selling on Etsy?
I'm not. No.
You're a consultant and a coach and a real estate agent, and that means what you are doing in this world is giving out advice, giving out knowledge, and giving out information. And if we are not working not just on our knowledge, but on how we deliver the knowledge, we are raising our hand for mediocrity.
I love that you said that, because think about an event that you went to. I think, and forgive me, I don't remember the man's name, but I will never forget the speech. We went to the CEO summit 2 years ago, and a gentleman got up there and he was talking about how you earn trust in different generations. He did not say, he did not pause. He did not have any awkwardness. His jokes hit. Everything that he went through, you could tell he had been through hundreds of times.
Mhm.
So I want you to go back, ladies and gentlemen. I want you to think about the best speaker you've ever experienced, not listened to, experience, because a true speaker can make you feel something. They elicit emotions, which then make you act, or at least make you have that draw to act. When is the last time you thought about your listing or buyer presentation or your phone calls as a performance? And the minute
Mm.
that you practice and show up for that performance, what if every single call, 150 people were on the other end saying, "Entertain us. We're here for the show," right? Are you prepared to walk into that conversation or that meeting? Have you prepared to that level? Do you know this authoritative tone versus the others that we go through, and where they can really make the biggest impact in that presentation or performance?
You know, you're bringing up such heat here, and I want to make sure that we make an asterisk whenever we're hearing things like performance and give a lot of tone and play your instrument as well as you can. My introverts out there,
Mm,
my lower personality on the energy scale, sometimes they're like, "Oh, well, I can tune out. This isn't for me." En contraire, mon frere, I'm not saying that you need to be flamboyant. I'm not
correct.
saying that you need to be over the top gregarious in your execution of these. However, you still must play the notes, but play them in your own key, in your own style, if you will.
Exactly. Exactly. There's no personality type where tonality, body language, and the words that we use don't play a role. If anything, maybe they even become more important depending on the personality type, right? And that just depends on your approach and your style, not just because of your style, but because your style has to match the consumer style in a
Sure.
certain way. What does the consumer need from you, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the next one, man, is a pretty cool one and sometimes we actually mess up and use this one
Yeah.
when we should
Yeah.
have used the first one. And this is to create maybe an answer or a question. It's called the rise.
Hmm.
Tell them,
Hmm.
hey Kyle, tell them an example. Oh, look
Ah,
what I just did.
yes.
It
Yeah, there it
rises.
is at the end. And now you don't know, right? Now I'm confused. What was he saying? Was it a question? Was it a statement? My older brother went and studied theology at Hillsong in Australia. In Australian accents, they tend to rise at the end of their sentences, at the end of their statements. And so he came home and he had this thick, thick Australian accent with rising tonality at the end. And it was the most confusing few months of our lives until he came back to normal with a normal Louisiana accent. But it
Hold
was
on,
like,
hold on. Pause. A normal Louisiana there's nothing normal about
yeah, boy.
it.
Yeah, until he started talking back like this, talking about gators. But for real, like he would be like, "Hey, Marcus, tomorrow, let's go to lunch at 12." And I'm like, uh, 11? He's like, "No, we're gonna go to lunch at 12." And I'm like,
Oh.
10? What? Maybe? So it's very confusing. And yet, unfortunately, sometimes when we're not paying attention, we do that.
Mhm.
And one of the things that you need to be very careful with is the rise builds curiosity and engagement like a question. However, comma, when you're talking about sales, if you're ending a sales pitch or a statement with a rise, it actually triggers the brain to think of this person might be lying.
Mm.
So whenever you are delivering solid facts or figures or a true statement or some kind of, like we said, command, if you are rising, it also can be construed as dishonesty because of the question matrix that goes in your mind whenever you hear the rise at the end of a statement.
You're creating doubt, you're creating maybe a lack of trust, and what it may stem from is the confidence level that you have making that statement. You may be telling the absolute truth, and yet if you're not confident, you come off like, "So you wanna sign with me?" Right? And
That's
then,
exactly right.
oh, no. So don't let the lack of confidence due to the lack of training, practicing, over repetitions, all this is a domino effect in a negative way because then all of a sudden the consumer doesn't believe you. Just do your reps. Earn that
Mhm.
that drop. the ability to do a drop, the ability to come off with confidence. And all of a sudden, when somebody's super confident on something, they elicit that trust in someone. And guarantee you jump on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok today. Somebody that you respect could get on there and very, very confidently say, the sky is turning pink and yellow tomorrow. And this is why, and this is science that proves it. And they can just be all in, and you're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I should think about this, right? Like, look at some of the most viral videos that were completely inaccurate, and people are like, I can't believe this is. They didn't do any research. They just believe somebody due to the confidence level. I'm not saying go out there and lie to everybody with confidence. I'm saying when
Sure.
you present something and you know that it's true, what is your tonality saying about that? Or is our confidence actually making us feel a little untrustworthy?
So, guys, we have the drop, the downswing, listening
Yep.
commands, and authority and finality. We have the rise that we use for questions or prompting feedback. Because if I say a statement rising, it can still prompt the next person to talk back. And if you pay attention very closely, guys, you'll see me do this to Marcus sometime. Drop a statement, ending my segment, dropping a statement with a higher tonality, and he knows it is now his time to give feedback or riff on the thing. It's very common. So we have the drop, we have the rise. The number 3, one of my favorites, and also plagued me forever, is the hold. The drop, the rise, and the hold. What we mean by this is the pause, ladies and gentlemen. Slight pause, slower delivery, deep breath. This instills confidence. It gives presence. It signals control.
And there's strength in the silence. We learned this.
1001, 1002.
It's one of those. This goes all the way back to the very old sales pitch of that person who talks first loses, right? In negotiation, we learned the power of the pause heavily when we switched to Zoom, because in the room, as a speaker, as a coach, as a consultant, whatever it is, you can read the room because you feel the body language, you feel the energy from the crowd or from the human being that you're talking to or whatever it is, and you can feel that. In the Zoom, we had to really practice the pause, because when we hit a powerful question, we can't feel their reaction to it. So you lead with the pause and you just let it sit. And I'll give flowers to who is due. Jake Geiger. He taught it was the exercise where you do action items and then the pain of not taking action. And he went through that with us. And you got to remember, like, he's doing this with nothing except bold coaches on a Zoom. We have taught this. We live it, right? We go through this all day. He had bold coaches in tears. And one of the best things that he did the whole time was the pauses to just let certain questions sit. And the more powerful the question that you ask, and the longer you let it sit, the longer people take to really marinate in that, really let that process of the brain go through all the thoughts. If you talk fast and you want to make a next point really fast because, man, that's in the material, or that just really want to say this, sometimes you lose the ability to let somebody go from snorkeling to scuba diving, and they need to process that from time to time.
Spot on. The problem is we know where we're going next, but the receiver does not. And like he's give him time to marinate, give him time to roll it around. Let the listener lean in. Sometimes in this business, unfortunately, we have to deliver hard truths.
Yep.
The hold, the pause, letting silence do the lifting is great for this, because sometimes, guys, you need to deliver the hard truth and then stop talking and let it breathe, and let the client, the consumer, the receiver understand the weight of the moment. Understand that the corner they may be painting themselves and their family into if they don't improve the price, if they don't get the extra marketing, if they don't do the repairs, if they don't change the roof. Like, we have to deliver that, and then shut up, shut your mouth, stop moving.
you can be as good as anyone in this game if you just decide to practice and focus in on your skill set.
What are you doing there, Marcus?
It's called a whisper. I think because I'm doing it the first time in my mic, and we're seeing if it works or not.
It's working.
And yet, when I go to whisper, if you're in your car driving, if you were doing something like laundry or the kids' breakfast or anything like that, and all of a sudden you heard our voices, and whisper. What happened? Did I gain your attention? Did I lose you? Were you like, wait, what's going on? Did I pattern interrupt?
There it is.
Because here's the beautiful part of all these guys. We just gave you 3. There's your 4th, the whisper. Kyle, what does a whisper do behind the scenes to the mental?
It brings in intimacy. It brings in impact, right? When you lower your volume, you drop the pace, people start to listen. Marcus said it perfectly. It delivers a pattern interrupt in the brain. Essentially, guys, what we're saying is the brain is moving, and then you change the sequence. And so that makes them be like, oh, something's happening. I need to pay attention more. I need to listen in more. I need to lean in more. And so, guys, the whisper, right? The drop, the rise, the hold, the whisper. If you've ever I guarantee you, go back, like Marcus said, watch some of your favorite speakers, your favorite presentations, and they go like this. Up, hey, Marcus, listen, like we're going to go do the things and we're going to crush it and we're going to do all the things and we're going to take market share and we're going to grow and we're going to grow. And when we do, woo, everything begins to change. You see him push you right off a cliff and then catch you right at the bottom.
There it is.
Whisper is huge, ladies and gentlemen. It is such a powerful tool should you choose to wield it.
It's such a powerful tool that takes up the least amount of energy. There was a gentleman, I won't say his name because what I'm about to say is not necessarily a compliment. There's a gentleman that came to the MAPS coaches, and he was the speaker of the day for MAPS coaches that day. It was at a family reunion, I believe. And my man got up there, and for 55 straight minutes, he yelled. And I mean yelled to the point where he was hoarse at the end at the meet and greet. And he had a wonderful message. Don't get me wrong. And he's a talented speaker and a talented human being. He used one form of communication the entire time, and he was sweating, and I respect it. Like, he left it all on the field, so I'm not downplaying that. And yet there's the best we are able to do and the best that can be done. And I think that when you learn things like this, you're doing a disservice to yourself, to your energy level, to your skill set and closability, if you don't incorporate some of this. He never caught us at the end of the cliff.
Every great craftsman, artist has multiple tools
there you go
that they use. You can't just always use a hammer. And sometimes, ladies and gentlemen, the hammer is what is needed, which brings us to number 5, which is the punch. It is the conviction. It is the passion. It is where you get to interject energy and elevate intensity. It's great for things like calls to action. It's great for a crescendo, leading you up the mountaintop to the glory that you know you are seeking every single day. Let's go.
The punch is the halftime speech when you're down 10. The punch is the moment where you look at your calendar and it's May 28th and you're comparing the dates versus your goals. And my gosh, we're behind. And I refuse to settle. I refuse to let this market beat me. Right? That's the punch. That's coming off the top rails and letting everybody know I am here. I'm fearless. I'm ready.
Coming off.
When are you using the punch rails for you?
That's right. Guys, the drop, commanding, right? The rise, curiosity, the hold, confidence, presence, the whisper, intimacy, impact, the punch, bringing conviction and passion. When you start to adopt and use these things to your advantage, you will grow into the communicator that influences people, that brings people together, that can heal, that can help, that can change lives, not just in your business, but in your life. Now that you heard it, ladies and gentlemen, you can either choose to adopt it or you can ignore it at your own peril. The choice is yours.
I have no idea how in this series I got whisper and you got punch. I have no idea how this happened. You freaking delivered though. Well done, sir. Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this as an experience, as taking somebody through the storyline. Every movie that you have ever seen has slow parts, fast parts, dramatic parts.
Yeah.
What's your presentation like? What is the movie trailer of your presentation? And technically, your presentation is the movie trailer for the experience they're about to have in their entire real estate experience with you. What does it look like with you?
What a
We
great
love you.
analogy, my friend. Cheers to that.
Thank you. Appreciate you. Yeah.
Go have a great Wednesday, ladies and gentlemen. We trust we rocked your socks. See you tomorrow.
I know.